In this video, I'm going to answer the question, how can you use relationship marketing to increase sales? This question is important to answer because I'm going to show you how you can decrease your time prospecting, decrease your time to close your sales, and increase your closing percentage. By the end of this video, you will see why referrals from relationship marketing will increase your sales. Let's face it, prospecting is hard work. It is so much harder to reach people these days, and the numbers that you have to do in order to reach the amount of people that get you the conversion, to get you the sales, is increasing and increasing and increasing. It's taking longer these days to generate the leads that we want through traditional prospecting. And, if we have a bigger goal, it doesn't mean we get to work less. It means we get to work hard. So when you think about prospecting, there are a lot of challenges with that. And I understand why you would want to find a better way. And relationship marketing is the best way, most effective way, I believe, to generate great new business. So we've established that prospecting is hard work. Have you looked at your numbers lately? So say, for example, you wanted to get, a number of new appointments, right? Maybe 12 new appointments. How much time would you need to prospect in order to generate those new appointments? Well, Baylor University did a study, and it said on average it took 8 to 10 hours to generate one appointment with a prospect. And the conversion from that cold prospecting was 20 to 1. So you needed 20 of those to convert one. That's a lot of prospecting. So if we wanted to generate 12 new appointments, we would need to spend 120 hours prospecting, and we wouldn't necessarily generate one sale because we would need 1 in 20. Now, you might be really good at closing business, and I bet you are, and even great cold prospecting sales people are doing 10 to 1. That's cutting it in half. That's still a lot of time prospecting. So what's a better way? So here you are. Here are the prospects and appointments you want. What is the connection in between? That is your relationship marketing. Those are your key referral sources. These are those businesses that you've developed, and actually people in specific professions that you've developed relationships with that can send you those introductions and those referrals. So each one of them knows lots of different people that they can send you, and that's how you get that warm appointment instead of that cold appointment. Okay, let's talk about the sales appointment. Now, you probably already realized that it's easier to close a prospect in a sales conversation with a warm referral versus a cold prospect. But let me show you a little bit about why that is. Okay, we've got the sales conversation here. So this is the sales conversation from a traditional prospect from cold calling or direct prospecting. This is that sales process. So you have to have a process to lead your sales in a conversation to convert that prospect to a client. So there's certain elements that most sales conversations have. That first element up here is building rapport. So if you don't know each other, how do you build that rapport so quickly? And so we do that pretty superficially, but we need to do it to get to the next step. The next step is we will probably assess their needs, and then we will offer a solution. Say, I can help you with that. Here's my solution. But then what happens? Dun, dun, dun. Objections! Oh no. And they hit us with all those objections. And here's what I believe about most objections. It's that prospect protecting themselves from fear. They are afraid that they're going to get taken advantage of. They're afraid that if they're going to make the right decision, they're afraid to jump too soon without careful consideration. And if they don't have a relationship with you, they're going to turn those fears into objections and say, I'm not ready yet. No. Who wants more no's? Okay. So one of the other things that happen is we may get along beautifully and they may actually say, I think so. And then what? The follow-up game. So if we're really good at converting that cool prospect into a sale, we might get that sale on occasion. But what we really spend a lot of time in is that follow-up. We have to follow up, follow up, follow up. Now here are some statistics on sales, conversion, and follow-up. When do sales happen? 2% of sales happen on the first appointment. That's just 2%. 3% of sales are made on the second contact. 5% of sales are made on the fourth contact. 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact. What does that mean? That means that you're doing a lot of follow-up. Now, I've been around business people for over 25 years, and I hear so much. I will do 3 follow-ups and then I'll stop. Well, with that mindset, we're not going to be making very many sales, are we? So it's really that prospecting, that follow-up game. So we had to work really hard to get that appointment, and then we have to work really hard after that appointment. And that's why it's so frustrating. Is there a better way? Yes, relationship marketing. Here's why relationship marketing is so much better, if I haven't already said enough. Here's the relationship sales conversation. You're gonna have the same conversation, except it's coming from a different position. So that first step in that conversation is relationship. Now you have a common relationship when someone has been referred to you. So the first thing we want to do is we want to remind them of how they got there. So we want to say, hey, Brian referred you. How do you know Brian? And we talk about our relationship with Brian. And they're thinking, Brian's amazing. Brian would not do anything to hurt me. Brian is only there to support me, and he's going to put me in great position and get me in front of the right person. So this is how we get that trust to transfer, right? So we need to talk about the relationship with the person who referred us, and now we have the trust that they had in that referral source. Before I go to the next step, if this information has helped you in any way, please give me a like. That helps me and my channel. Okay, so you're in that sales conversation with that person who's been referred to you, and you've established that relationship so that trust can transfer to you. Now we finish our sales conversation with the same steps as any other sales conversation. We're gonna assess the need, we're gonna offer our solution. Now they may have some objections or stalls, but they're probably gonna be much minor and even fewer. And if you've got a really great referral source who already knows you and your business really well, and they do the 5 steps to the referral process in giving you that referral, they probably already eliminated most of those or gave you a heads up on what their concern might be so you can take care of it in that sales conversation. So great thing about referrals is a lot of those objections have already gone away. And then that final step is we just let them buy. And that's why we convert so much more. Now remember I talked about the follow-up, okay? Now sometimes we do have to do a little bit of follow-up with that referred prospect, but here's why we don't have to do nearly the amount of follow-up with a referred prospect. Because when you have a cold prospect, you meet for that sales conversation, and then by following up, you build the relationship after the sales conversation. When you receive a referral, you get to have a warm sales conversation, and the relationship has been built before they got to you because it was built by your referral source. That way, it eliminates that time to build the relationship because you get that trust to transfer to you and they can say yes. I have a great resource and gift for you. It's my Referrals to Riches Playbook. And if you are interested in further developing your relationship marketing so you can increase your sales and start closing more business faster with so much more ease, then this Referrals to Riches Playbook is going to help you have the tools and the guidance to do so. So click the link below, and here's to more referrals and closed business.